While the body was given some time to cure, I moved on to some other parts, in this case starting off with the interior. A couple of the interior parts could be glued together before paint to make it a lot less parts and also to create a nice seamless finish between these two parts. With me adding the photo etch parts as well, I also needed to glue a couple of those on before I started painting, as that would create a overall nicer finish in the end. After gluing all the photo etch pieces on the parts together and prepping them for primer, I moved on to applying the first couple coats of primer and then just a lot of black. With the primer now on, the parts were ready for some color. In this case, I decided to go semi-gloss black for the seats and the dashboard, and then a matte black for all the other components. After I had let the black dry for a couple of minutes, I moved on to masking it up carefully and then started applying some gunmetal gray or metallic gray to some of these trim pieces to give it a bit of a different look and a bit more like the original car, and also to kind of look like the rest of the color for the roof and some of the other parts on the body itself. After painting all of the parts, I let them dry for a bit and then started with the detailing. Firstly, I laid down a nice thick coat of clear to act as a glue for the flocking, and the flocking is of course to simulate some carpet. The carpet is now laid down and I can move on to some other details, starting it off with a lot of flat black details, mainly on the dashboard, some of the vents and the buttons. It would be a bit dull to just have some black and gray details on the dashboard and interior pieces, so I took out some silver as well for the bezels around the gauges and also some other buttons and door handles. The detail painting is now pretty much done, so I could move on to applying a couple of decals to finish the interior details off. The decals were let to dry for a bit, and then I could move on to assembling. I just used some super glue to glue it all together. The photo etch foot pedals were a bit too bright and shiny for me, so I added some Panelline accent color to highlight the lower areas and make them a bit darker. With the additional photo etch set, you also get some pieces for the seatbelts, so I detailed them and then applied them with some seatbelt material. And by gluing that final seat in place, the interior is done. Now it might be a bit black and dark, but I kinda like it since the exterior is already a bright yellow. I think the black material would suit it really well. Some red seats might look a bit weird, so I figured I'd go safe and just have a clean black interior with some details here and there.